My F21 boyfriend, M21, does not want me to get on birth control. What do I do? So, as the title says, my F21 boyfriend, M21, does not want me on birth control. Saying he would rather completely abstain than have me go on any kind of birth control because of all the health risks and changes and dangers it could put me in? I have never been on any form of birth control, so I don't know how it would affect me personally. I mentioned wanting to get on birth control because twice now there have been slip UPS which have resulted in me needing to take the Plan B emergency contraceptive, followed by weeks of extreme anxious waiting for my period, having my cycle screwed up, and just feeling overall overwhelmed, and $100 bucks out of my pocket now. I have a history with a previous ex where he stealed, which resulted in an unwanted teenage pregnancy and a miscarriage, so every time a slip-up happens now and I have to wait, it is very, very scary and almost traumatic. For me. Has anyone gone through anything similar or have any advice here? I don't want to keep having slip UPS and taking Plan B, and I also don't want to completely abstain altogether. Edit. Condoms are used every time, no exceptions. The times I've had to take Plan B were legitimate emergencies where condoms failed. First, remember that it's not up to him. I get being concerned about health effects. Some people's bodies don't react well to hormonal birth control. Other people have no problems at all. I would talk to your doctor about your options and see what you think you might want to try. There are pills, shots, implants, rings, IUDs, etc. I would recommend against relying only on condoms if you can add another method. Saying he would rather completely abstain than have me go on any kind of birth control because of all the health risks and changes and dangers it could put me in. Twice now there have been slip UPS which have resulted in me needing to take the Plan B emergency contraceptive. This doesn't add up at all. He says he would rather abstain, but that isn't happening. He says he is against you using any form of contraceptive, but that has happened. I'm not sure what this guy's agenda is, but when people's actions don't match their words, there is little reason to trust what comes out of their mouth. More importantly, if you decide to take oral contraceptives or implement another form of birth control, that is your choice, and not up for negotiation. Another big red flag against this guy. Your boyfriend can express his concerns for your health, but ultimately, the decision of what birth control medications you take should be based on a conversation between you and your healthcare physician. Your boyfriend has no more say on your birth control choices than any other prescription or medical choices you make for yourself and your body's needs. 1. It's your body. He does not need to approve of the healthcare decisions you make for yourself. 1. Your doctor knows way more about the risks and changes than your boyfriend does. Talk to your doctor and make your own decision based on that. 1. There's a chance that your boyfriend ultimately wants to get you pregnant, and his whole "I'd rather abstain" thing is just an act to get you to agree not to use birth control but still have sex. Keep that in mind. One Plan B is the equivalent of taking 3 because pills in one go. It isn't up to him. Period. I would be very concerned if my partner told me he forbid me from being in birth control. In fact, I'd leave him. What should I, 22F, do about my boyfriend, 23M, who's blaming me for his actions? I'm pretty lost here and not sure what to do. My boyfriend and I have been dating for about 6 months and went long distance this summer. I was pretty stressed about work and was more irritable, so I lashed out on him for a period about problematic things he was saying. I always apologized, but over time it was getting too much for him. He always made me feel bad about my history with men, even though it's not really his place to judge since I didn't know him then. I eventually threatened to go on a break with him if he brought it up again, and when he did, I forgave him after he apologized and promised to not bring it up again. He also said that a break equals a breakup in his eyes. The next day he asked for a break for a couple weeks, and I took this as a breakup but was confused, so I just respected his decision and sent him a thank you for everything message. Fast forward to after the break, when we've made up and are together in person. I snooped on his phone, which I know is wrong, but I was super suspicious and found that before our break, he was telling his friend that an old friend of his was coming into the picture. And I also found out he downloaded Hinge during our period of fighting, but before we called the break. I was super heartbroken and confronted him, and he said it was because he felt like I was always trying to attack him and he felt like I wasn't listening to him. He explained that he took my thank you message as a breakup text and said he was so sad and thought I broke up with him for good.
He promised he never cheated while we were together and only slept with her during our break.
He lied a couple times at first because he first said he didn't see anyone during our break, then said it was a random person, then admitted it was his old platonic friend. He justifies the lying by saying I didn't need to know anything because we were broken up.
I'm confused because I feel like he's trying to justify his actions by blaming me.
He apologized so much and admits his faults, and now I have trust issues.
Is there any chance for me to build that again? Too long did not read.
What should I do after he was unfaithful during a time we were fighting all the time?
Sis, what are you doing?
This dude is spouting misogynistic nonsense and cheating on you, and you're begging for his scraps? Have some self-respect.
The manipulation is easy to see. You just need to open your eyes. He asked for a break to sleep with her.
It's obvious. Don't take him back or believe anything he says. Just block and move on. Guys like this are a waste of time and energy. ... Why
the fuck would you want to stay with this loser? You've been together all of 6 months and he's got double standards.
Dump him. Do yourself a favor, do not pursue him.
The relationship was over for him. It's not going to get better after all that. It's concerning that you feel so lost about this. On the rare occasion a IRL can withstand going LDR, it's because both parties have years invested and a long-term plan in place.
To even try to be LDR with only a short 6 months of foundation under you was probably the first mistake here.
So you can't date for real and he can't keep it in his pants. This is the universe telling you to move on. You're already long distance, now distance yourself.
Send him an "it's over" message, then block him everywhere.
I'm M22, pretty sure my friend, M22, and my mom, F21, hooked up.
What should I do now?
So, my friend, Josh, lives in another city. We met online many years ago and really connected. We play games together and talk to each other weekly.
Last year, he told me he need a place to stay in my city, and I told he could stay with me. I still live with my mom, but her house is big and she never had any problems with my friends coming in.
When he was here, we went partying, drinking and everything. And he was a big player. Talked to a lot of pretty girls, hooked up with a couple of them. Boy had game, I envy that, to be honest.
But after a couple of days, I noticed my mom being a little too nice with him. All smiles, giggles. Not the kind of attention she ever gave to any of my friends.
I never saw anything serious, however. So I ignored that.
After he went home, AHE asked when would he be back, and mentioned him a couple of times, what I found a little unusual.
The real issue was recent. When we were talking on Discord, last weekend, one of our friends, F21, confessed that she hooked up with her friend's dad. We all laughed and all. After that, Josh said that he too had an experience similar to hers.
Everyone on the Discord group asked him to explain it, but he was too shy to tell any details. He's never shy.
He only said that he also slept with some friend's mom, but never told the friend's name.
I'm really sure that I'm the friend.
And I don't know how to ask it. Or if I should ask anything. You're going to open a can of worms. So if he slept with your mom, what will you do? All substantial evidence points to your mom.
Sorry, I do think it's her too.
You need to be straight up and just ask bro. And if he did while you put a hand out for him then. He's a huge asshole and I would personally beat his ass lol, but that's just me and I'm not advocating for violence, but it's a good response IJS.
Yeah, he banged your mom, dude.
That sucks.
If it were me, I'd stop talking to this guy and I'd be pretty peeved and creeped out with my mom too for sleeping with her son's same-aged friend.
I think it's weird, and I think if the genders were swapped there'd be a much different conversation happening here. Honestly, your feelings are completely valid. I do understand the point that since your dad passed and your mom is single, she has a right to date who she pleases and it was two consenting adults. But it is crossing boundaries because the connection between them is you and both of them have not considered the impact it might have on you. I would confront him. If he says yes he did it, I would tell him that you appreciate his honesty, but he needs to understand that this is a betrayal towards you and that you need distance and time away from him. I would also talk to your mother and tell her it feels disrespectful towards you. She can date whoever she wants, but she should consider the impact on you if it's her friend and not cross that boundary.
If you have any dad or something, talk to him about this. Your mother is at fault too. How can she sleep with someone who is her son's age?
It's so disgusting, and also confront them about it. Call him dad and demand allowance.